What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Got an exciting one in from Remette to check out, so let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, guys, I have the Remette leopard here in today, and I've been very anxious to check this one out. It is their new design. It is a gravity knife, and it is medium in size, very compact on this particular one. So I was very, very interested in this one, especially with larger hands. I was kind of curious how this would work. All titanium construction on this one. All of the hardware that is used to assemble this is hidden on the pocket clip side, and I did check, and I do feel like the steel hardware here is picking up. It could be the framing and the blade underneath, but I don't think it would have that much pull. It is like instantaneously grabbing those screws. So steel screws, which is fine. It helps save a little bit of money versus titanium hardware on here, and the steel screws will hold up a little bit better. If it is fastened directly into the titanium on the other side, just be careful when tightening these down. You don't want to strip them out. The pocket clip on this one is a little short and a little tight, so it does cause a little bit of bunch up on my jeans in my example and in my experience with this particular one. So I do wish they would have just gone out a little bit further and created some tension, but I think you could try to just continue to kind of loosen that one up a little bit and it would work. If you just grab your jean pocket and put it in, it'll work just fine. It did come with a faux leather sheath. I don't think it's real leather, or it's not a high quality leather anyway. It doesn't feel like it. But it does feel well made at the very least, and it will protect the knife itself. For me, I probably, because of the way this locking mechanism works, would be comfortable just sliding it in and out of the pocket, because the lever to open the knife is actually on the show side. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So there is your M390 blade. It does have a stone-washed finish with a hand-rubbed finish here at the very height of it, or where it actually stops as far as the grind on the blade. You do have a 3D printed textured piece here on the flat. You do have some milling here on the show side, on the in-between or the clamshell side, and then it matches on the non-show side here as well. They even carved it out to kind of match where the switch is, so I like that attention to detail. The jimping here is nice and grippy. The lanyard, ironically, is on the bottom. I think it would have been a little bit nicer for it to be on the top, but I do have the larger hand, so that may just be me that maybe would like to have that up there, but I am able to comfortably get a 3.5 finger grip on this one. Again, it is more medium size, more compact, a little bit more discreet, a little bit easier to carry. I appreciate the jimping here. It does make it very nice in hand. It was very comfortable cutting with it down in the garage. It does have a decent geometry on it, not super thin and slicey because of the fact that it is a shallow flat, but it did cut well. I had no issues with it, especially when I went through the thicker material. I did notice that it felt a little bit thick on the tip when I tried to do some utility cuts with it and whatnot. It does go in and out smoothly, but it doesn't fly out as fast as the XOM that I used to own. The XOM, I think because it has more play, flew out a little bit easier and a little bit faster. I can't really get this one consistently to fly out. It's probably timing. I think if I spent a little more time with it, I probably would be able to get that. Yeah, I have what, 1 out of 5? What is that, 5 tries? Can't quite get it. There we go. So I almost got to slam it to get it to come out. Hey, 2 in a row. Maybe I am getting the timing down. It is nicely oiled and lubed here at the switches and the levers. And again, I think that is because it is such tight tolerances for it rubbing up against the titanium. So I do really like and appreciate that. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons and weigh the knife, and then we'll wrap it up with my final thoughts and impressions on the leopard. All right, so here is the leopard against my Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight and my McNeese Mac 2 3.5 inch. you can see this is more compact than both. So again, I think this is going to be something that is going to appeal to more people that maybe have been interested in a gravity knife, but maybe haven't picked one up because they've been fairly large size until you saw like the XOM, which I think that's also a really good size compared to the leopard, but the XOM is going to be a little bit thicker, kind of like what you see here on the scale. So a little bit more height on it, but I think that does translate to a little bit of a taller blade with a little bit of a thinner geometry. I think it's very comparable, at least if memory serves me right. I felt like the XOM had a little bit more of a slicier blade with it being a little bit taller and able to get down to a little bit of a able to get the thinness down more quickly, if that makes sense. But I have a couple more that I want to do for the size comparisons, and then we'll weigh this knife. All right, I have the Artisan Crusoe on the table along with the Devo Knives Fireball, which I consider to be kind of your start to a medium-sized EDC. It is a little bit more compact with the Leopard, but I really think like Fireball is where medium ends and then large starts to begin for me, for myself personally. The Leopard here, though, it is closer to 3.5 fingers, whereas with the Fireball, when choked up, it's a comfortable 4-finger knife. Now, if I choke back, it's very similar to the Leopard, but for me, this isn't really the most comfortable position to use this knife. I kind of like to use this flat spot that was very well designed into this knife to be able to kind of use this one. So let me move these out of the way, grab the scale, we'll weigh this one, and then we'll go ahead into my final thoughts and impressions. All right, got the scale out here, my friends. Let's go ahead and check the weight on this guy. Full titanium construction with an M390 blade and steel hardware and probably a steel liner for it to ride on, coming in at just under 4 ounces for the size and the thickness and everything that you see here. You got to keep in mind it does have 2 titanium scales, and then it has a full wraparound titanium spacer, if that's what you would like to call it here, for the sandwich construction to actually work, and then the steel hardware to really reinforce and keep this all together. I think that's a solid weight. Now, it definitely feels a little bit heavier than the Fireball that I just had in the hand, so that's coming in at 3.7. But again, it's very minor. 3.7 to 3.9 is not a huge difference, considering that you're talking about 2 medium knives that have, you know, a pretty robust titanium sandwich construction going on with these. I know they're calling this a backstrap versus, you know, a spacer, if that's what you would like to call that, but not that bad on the weight. Okay, let's go ahead and do final thoughts and impressions. Almost got it on the Remette Leopard. Would have been cool if I nailed that. Anyway, I grade on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. I take into consideration price, ergos, fit, finish, and performance, along with the obviously subjective aesthetic piece of it. I really like the Leopard a lot. It is a little tight for me on this one, but I think for the size and the weight and how this is constructed, I actually really like this a lot. I like the tighter tolerances. I'm okay with the slightly slower action in the XOM because of the slightly tighter tolerances. That's not to say that there isn't play. There's always going to be a little bit of play on these gravity knives to make this one work. But I feel like when this one's deployed, it feels most familiar to what I experience when I'm holding a lot of folders, right? The XOM, a little bit more chunky, a little bit more boxed off. This one's nicely contoured, a lot more rounded. So it kind of feels like a small pocket knife in the hand. So I do really like that about it. I like the way they decided to do the switches and how they have the titanium locking up with the blade and that kind of clam construction or claw. I guess I don't know what you would want to call that, but I really like that. And they kind of almost completely go away when not in use. And then they double with jimping here so that you can almost again. I'm going to get that. There we go. With the jimping on here, so your fingers are kind of resting on that jimping, thumb resting on that jimping so that it works in hand very well. And I think it's a good looking piece overall. I don't know if they've done any with inlays where that titanium is. That would be kind of cool as well. Maybe if they could do the inlay, and like once you take it apart, you could take this and unscrew it internally so that you can't really see where the inlay kind of gets screwed in. I don't know if you could even do that depending on the material potentially, but I personally would have gone for the all titanium one. One thing that I would have liked to have seen, I don't see that out there. I'd love to see a dark washed one. I think that would look really, really cool. Do a dark washed and do a dark washed blade. That would look really, really sweet. But that is my thoughts and impressions on the Remette leopard. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I don't think this Remette is on Amazon because of the fact that it is gravity knife, but I will see where I can find this and link it for you if you are interested, if they are in stock. Affiliate links are down in the description, so if you use those, it helps the channel. That is totally up to you guys. To you guys. Special thanks to my channel members. I appreciate all of your support, guys. Obviously, I'm really tired. I need to get out of here. I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a fantastic week. Peace.